What's going on, guys? We are back here again with another video, and today we are building on the original website, simple Flask website we made, and we're calling our first API. We will call an AI API because it's most fun and it will give us the most fun responses. We will show you how easy it is to make something happen in the back end of your server here. So here is your server definition, and then in the browser is where the client is served, their client side stuff. We will call the chat completions API from OpenAI, and it will hopefully be easy and fun, and I will hopefully show you some stuff we can learn along the way. So let's see where we're at. So I'll just run a Flask run, and I'll add the /debug flag to make sure that it automatically updates when I make changes. Flask debug run. That's the way you should go. Okay. And if we go to our website, we see where we left off. So we just have this simple website on the main route, or there's no other route. So we just have the home route here. So let's first define another route. So in Python, we define a function with a def keyword, or define. So we will first write to our router in the server, the Flask server, where should we serve this route. So let's serve it under API/chat, and we'll just make a function called chat, and we'll just return in JSON hello world. So if you remember, JSON is this JavaScript object notation, and so this just means that we have this app, this Flask app, which is routing all the requests made to our server to different, serving them different code snippets. And we want them, when people go to /API/chat, to be served, return. So it will return this to the browser, and it will return it from our server to the browser in JSON format, or JavaScript object notation, which is this you learned about in the first lab, where you have a key. The key is message, and the value is hello world. So you could have a bunch of keys and a bunch of values, and we'll see that later. But let's go then to so it should automatically update our server, and let's go to the /API/chat route, and it indeed says hello world, and it served us that response in basically instantly, because there's no latency between the server and my request, because we're in the same place. We're both hosted locally on my computer, so there's no time for light to travel between those places. So let us now incorporate OpenAI's API. So if you go into OpenAI's website and make an account, they tell you that you have to make an API key. If you look here, it says you have to have an API key to make requests to our server, and it says how to make an API key, and here it is. So I just create a new key. I will call it Bergs, and I will also keep it secret for you. I will simply paste it here, or I will not keep it secret, I will disable it after this, and I will just paste this API key into my server-side code. So remember, this is all served on the server, whereas the website here, this is served to the browser, the client browser. So here you cannot have any secrets. You cannot hide anything in the browser code here, because I can see everything and all the requests and everything being made here. So you have to have your secret keys on the server side. So we'll paste it here. Excellent. Not inside this template here, which is returned from the server. Okay. So next we go into the documentation here, and it says the easiest way, I presume, is they say that you can just make a request without any library or any other library or anything. You can just make it like the requests library we did before in Python. And this whole thing is a request you can make, and you must include the API key. But when you're using Python, it's easier, I think, to use their package. They've made a package called OpenAI, which you have to pip install. But if you do it, it will be easier. So let's first pip install the package. So let's just clear the terminal, and I'll just run pip install OpenAI. And as you see, I already have this installed, but for you it might be different. Okay, so after that, I'll just copy this code snippet and paste it into my code here. So we first import the OpenAI. From the OpenAI package, we import the OpenAI client. So this client will just help us make requests. This is in the end what it will look like. This is the curl request. This is the real request that it will make. But they have made a Python package to make it a little bit cleaner and easier to work with. So it will do nothing magical. It will just format the request on this page where you have the message, you have the role of the request, you have the content, your helpful assistant, you have the user. You can read up on exactly what they're doing, but there's no magic going on here. Okay, so once we have this, and by the way, if it doesn't look like this in your VS Code, just make sure that that you have chosen the right Python interpreter for. So we go here and choose the Python interpreter, and if you don't have this IntelliSense looking nice, ask ChatGPT why your Python interpreter if you have pip install the package. So first pip install OpenAI, and then make sure that the right interpreter is chosen. Okay, so we have this client. This client, if you look into it, it says that it must have this API key served to it. So we will give it. Then we will copy this completions request and paste it here under the chat. So let's do like this. I will copy this and remove this. Okay, so let's just investigate this request one. So the model. So this we are using the OpenAI client. This is the client they made to make it easy to make requests. And we're using the chat API, and I guess if you look at the curl request, this likely says something about the chat. So yes, it says /chat in the route and then /completions. So that's why we do chat.completions. And so completing chats, that's basically asking questions. And we will create a completion, and we will use the model GPT-4o mini. Remember, these are arguments in a function. So this is a function. You can see here with the parentheses. And this is the first argument, model equal to GPT-4o mini. And you can change that, of course. And the message is your helpful assistant. And we have another message. So this is an array, a list of messages. And the other message is from the user. So this is a system prompt. If you look into how OpenAI uses their models, they have something called system prompt, and they have this just user prompt. So the user says, write a haiku about recursion in programming. Sure, we can say this about learning Python. And you could also append more messages here. So if you want the assistant, so this could be that the assistant has already answered with this, and then you could go to the next step, and you could have a bunch of messages here, and the request will understand the context of all the messages. But we will just have append these two messages, a system prompt and a simple message, and we will take this completion and we will just say place it here and the top content. Okay, so what we're doing is we're taking out the completion object, and we're taking, so apparently if you look into the API, we go completion dot, and then it has choices, and choices is a list of different choices. So you can make a print, or you can read up on the API documentation on OpenAI, but apparently you get all of the choices. So there could be maybe 10 different possible answers to this question that they have come up with, but we choose the first one, the 0th index, because they are ordered in the order of least or best to least good. Yeah. So we choose the best message, and then we choose that message and we get the content. Let's just do that. So now if we call API/chat, we should get, and how we call it is, of course, we must get the server running again. So I will simply run this Flask debug run, and I will go to my little website and we'll go /API/chat. And now you can see there's some latency, right? There was some load time because this request has to go all the way to OpenAI's server and then all the way back to me in Sweden. And I'm not sure where the OpenAI closest server is, but there also has to be done some computations on that server to compute the answer to my question, or in this case, making of the haiku. So lines of syntax flow, indentation guide my way. Logic comes alive. And these little signs here are how string characters encode line breaks. So this is a line break. And if you render this in the browser, it will understand those line breaks. So, yeah, and if I refresh this website, it should give you a new answer, because there's a probabilistic element to how this autoregressive process is done from the OpenAI GPT-4o mini model. And now, then when I make subsequent requests, it will sample different part of this probabilistic distribution and give you different answers. So we can refresh here a couple of times, but if I do it a million times, it will have an effect on my budget, or the costs will run out of control. But it's quite cheap just to make it like this. And with this logic, you can make any other. You don't have to make it a chat. You can talk to the client here. I believe there's some like image. I believe images dot. I guess generate. I guess there's like something called like images dot generate. And yeah, you can make some prompt here. So here you could generate an image and serve the image to the browser to the. So I can show you that next perhaps. But yeah, this kind of template you could make for anything. You can make your own APIs server side and connect whatever powerful tools you want to use to your app. So let's see in the next video how we connect this to the actual website we've built. And let's do that with the image, because images are most fun. Okay, thank you very much for watching, guys.